let alone that I would be proud to do so. I cannot imagine someone I would trust more with divinity, including myself.
Fane lays a bony hand on your shoulder, squeezing gently.
Do you know, I believe you will.
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of divinity. But this cup, so long thirsted for, I willfully let it pass from me. All my life has been a lead-up to this, to be the King of Kings, God of Gods. I will not say it was in vain, but I will say it was vanity. If I were to chance upon my throne right now, I would sit down beside it, cast my glance to the horizon, and think of worthier things. I'd think of Sadha, my great love. I'd think of my children, their joyous dance through fiery skies. And of course I'd think of you, of the adventures we had, of our unlikely yet heartfelt friendship. Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented, and wait for you to ascend the throne. I know.
A mischievous smile.
But I do have to add, likewise.
Yes. Is it? I can hardly believe it.
She casts her gaze around the crypt in awe.
After everything we've been through, after everything we've seen, here we are. Here I am. And now that I see godhood before me, I know what I have to do. Chief, you need to ascend. There's no one I would trust with this responsibility but you. I know you'll do what needs to be done, what ought to be done. And I know you'll do it with style. Ha! They'll never know what hit them. Now go on, shoo. You've got business to attend to.
You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. Divinity at your fingertips. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way, who stood by you or against you. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aeteran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate, and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to his banner. The great allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the God woke and claimed divinity. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine. I cling now to the dream that one day the veil will be sealed, that one day I can be freed, that one day a new God woken will rise.
Well, well, look what the cat drag did. A god, no less.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No, we were all of us instrumental, but only one walked away with divinity. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Please don't hold it against them. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you'll recall, as per your own testimony, you can groom, but alas, you've no culinary skills whatsoever, and you lack a sense of fashion. Far from ideal. Still, I am nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much. As such, I'd like to offer you what I denied you before, the opportunity to become my slave. What say you? Well, only the best for the Red Prince. Surely you must realize that by now.
Melody stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and a ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Let an eye fool, your holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent. Actually, I've never looked better. Except for one small thing.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much. I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me. But I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you, Your Holiness.
The flaming hatchling bounces and cheeps out of sheer excitement.
Daddy! Daddy! Looky, looky! At me!
It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying has hatched at long last. The chick trills contentedly and flaps its tiny feathers in recognition of its proud parent. It seems you've got a new mouth to feed.
Daddy.
You escaped an abominable prison and confronted the king of all gods, only in turn to confront divinity itself. A rather poetic arc, don't you think? Not that your story is finished, of course. Your divinity shines upon all who walk Rivellon. And there will be those that escape to the shadows. You must be ready to face them, whenever they might emerge. Now that I am clear of mind and free of intruders, I'm wondering if it isn't time to share my learnings with the less enlightened. And to that end, I have a few ideas worth considering. Once I've come to a conclusion, I promise you'll be the first to know. As a matter of fact, yes, Source makes for an excellent ally in matters of a demonic nature. Not only can Void seep through the veil, but the beasts of Nemesis might similarly slip out of their own plane. Whether you are clever enough of a divine to keep Damien's disciples confined to Nemesis, I can't say. But I think we'll know soon enough. And I suggest you be ready. Until we meet again, Beast.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with his presence. How honored I am. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustavgen? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world, beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustavgen seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world, and there's another for the taking?
A slight grin crosses the spirit's face. Whether her smile is sincere or not, you can't be sure.
I see great potential in our new divinity. I don't expect to be disappointed.
Oh my, you! Look who it is! Our brand new Lord and Savior.
She curtsies low and looks up at you with a grin.
So, what's your first order of business? End world hunger? Instigate world peace? Send all spiders back to hell where they belong? Big job. I'd offer to help, but I've got some business of my own to attend to. Get loot, play loot, get loot, get glad. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right?
Her face softens.
You know, I won't forget you either. Not ever. It's not every day you fall in love with a future god, after all. You'll ace it. I'm sure of that.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken, the veins in her face go grey, and a wicked smile curls her mouth. Suddenly, it's gone again. She winks, and you're left wondering whether you saw anything at all.
See you around.
Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leaves through it slowly, muttering to himself.
Interesting.
His eyes stay fixed on the book as you approach.
Yes, I see. It is rather annoying. You have my apologies. The next time I meet you in the guts of a slaving ship, I shall keep my hands to myself.
Fane looks up, his gaze carefully drinking you in.
Fascinating. The power of my people. The power of the Veiled. All in one delicate mortal shell. Who could have imagined? I don't doubt it.
The skeleton looks back to the book. You can feel the grief radiating from him.
I can't help thinking that I could have saved them. That I could have done something. I could have done more. So, perhaps could they? Had they decided to live in peace with the mortals of Rivellon, maybe we could have saved them. But they made their choices, and I made mine. You could have saved them, but you didn't. You made your choice. Don't misunderstand. I made my choice too. That doesn't mean I cannot mourn them, though. They deserve that much.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hand.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Simply that to see the true beauty of a thing, sometimes you have to look at it as an outsider. As someone with fresh eyes, if you will. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly octopuses? Octopi? Octopods. Oh, I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever truly created or destroyed. I suppose we are all Source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, less jewel-encrusted form, naturally. But my people were Source too, although we didn't know it at the time. And our Source helped create you. In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire time. In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwalker.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one. I feel better than new. I will always be an ally to those that carry Source, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old, and so, as always, I am at the ready.